Boom, we're live. How's everybody? Hope all's well. I can see the comments are already moving, which is good to see. We got 10 people in here already. That's great. I know it's Tuesday night after the Champions League as well. People are tuning in, going, "What's happening here? What's he doing a Tuesday night stream?" Well, tonight's guest was going to be Patrick Quinlan, but we have rescheduled till tomorrow. A couple of things came up there, so that's absolutely no problem. So I just wanted to come on and do a short stream, hoping to aim for about sort of 30 to 40 minutes, I think, tonight. Although you know yourself, sometimes these things can go over time, but I'm hoping for that to be the roundabout time that I'm going to do this evening. So thanks very much for everyone that comes in and has a look at these streams, and also then whoever is sharing and liking the videos as well. Very important that is. So very much so appreciate it. It's been a minute since we've done a live stream. I think sometime last year, I think it was the last time we did a live stream. And look, I've had a lot of people that have reached out to me over the last year, and they were like, I think maybe less than a year. It was about 6 months ago, maybe. I don't know, but I've had a lot of people that have reached out to me and they've been saying, "Where's the live streams? What's going on with the live streams? What's happening?" Just busyness. That's just all it is. And what I'm looking to do at the moment is I'm looking to do consistent videos every week and have it on at the same time. So it means then there'll be a week between videos at the moment. So look, I don't know what you think about the format. Let me know down below. Let me know what you think about the plans. If you're either watching live or after the fact, let me know what you think. So my idea at the moment is to do a video every Monday, 6:30, and that's going to be a continuous drop so that you know that on a Monday, this channel is going to have something going on. I've had a lot of people reaching out to me as well saying, "Look, we haven't gotten notifications or anything like that." It just is what it is with this platform in terms of that. I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. It is what we're experiencing on this side of the fence is continued suppression, which is fine. It just means that what we're doing is working, it's getting through to people. People are hungry for it. The fact that people are actually finding it and seeking it out in the first place is brilliant. So I'm very thankful for all the views that I get. I'm very thankful for all the likes that are sent away of the channel and on each video. That helps to boost in the algorithm. That means more people get eyes on what's going on. So the guest that I'll have tomorrow is Patrick Quinlan, and I should say Councillor Patrick Quinlan, and that's someone I'm very excited about having on. This guy has been an absolute stalwart when it comes to nationalism and has been on the forefront and in the trenches, I should say, for the last number of years. He's in the trenches right now, and that's why I posted that video today at 6:30. So that video is from the Fingal County Council. Now, there's a couple of people that are sitting in that council, and as you've seen by the end of that video, if you haven't seen it already, maybe you'll check it after this live stream. It'll give you a bit of a background on who Patrick Quinlan is and what he's about. And what he's about is he's shown you essentially in that video that he's the only one in that council that gives a shit about you. And he's the only one that's there that's looking interested in doing something for the Irish people. There's a couple of people I just want to earmark in that council video. And when you see it, you'll notice this. And it's something that you need to be aware of as well. Because political dynasties and families and relations and nepotism is rife in this society. It is. But there's two people that I want to hone in on in that video. The first person I'm going to go through very quickly because it just doesn't need too much time. The second person is a little bit more of an eye-opener for a lot of people. So the first person in the video that you'll see there is Angela Donnelly. Now, Angela Donnelly is only in politics, in my humble opinion, because her husband is Paul Donnelly, who was a TD, also of Sinn Féin. You'll remember a video that I released not too long ago, probably about a year or two ago, maybe a little bit more. And Paul Donnelly was tweeting out negative things about people outside of Leinster House, saying how they should be wearing masks. This is a guy that was scared of the flu. This is a guy that's running for Sinn Féin. This is modern Sinn Féin, by the way, guys. This is a guy that's probably in his 50s, maybe closer to 60s now. Who knows? A guy that I'm sure would be cheering on the likes of the Wolf Towns and singing their songs and that like that, but was scared of the flu. Not interested as well about the copious amount of people coming into the country and all the migrant crime that comes with that either, because Sinn Féin have now turned and have called you racist as such. You know where that's coming from. It's coming from their leader. So that's just who she is. So Angela Donnelly is the wife of Paul Donnelly. Be very aware of that and notice that, because that's a person that instantly wanted to shut down what Patrick was asking about. Why? Because here we have Sinn Féin that's supposed to be the Nationalist Republican Party, and they have shown to be anything but that. So that's the first person I want to get out of the way, quick and simple there. The second person I wanted to hone in there on in the video is Jimmy Guerin. Now, that is a name that's going to be very Very well recognized. And see, this is the thing on what I do. I see surnames and I start linking them together and I say to myself, I've heard that surname before. Yes, you would be right in saying he is related to Veronica Guerin. Now, Veronica Guerin is his sister. Jimmy Guerin currently is suing Gemma O'Doherty. Now, I don't know whether that trial is still going or what's happening there, but he is suing Gemma O'Doherty now for defamation. And what was the defamation? Well, Gemma O'Doherty referred to Veronica Guerin's, shall we say, PDF file brother. Jimmy is suing her on those remarks. What isn't been reported by the media as such is that there actually was a brother of Veronica Guerin that did possess an awful lot of images in particular. Now, it wasn't Jimmy, okay? So I think it's quite interesting that that's all ongoing in the background, but I also think it's very interesting and fascinating that Jimmy Guerin is there because political and familial ties there. So he was in Fianna Fáil a long time ago, and Veronica Guerin, an awful lot of people don't know this. So while she was writing exposés and writing things about various different people around the country, and you may have your eyes on those people in particular, but when I seen, for example, one of them was used. They said that he was one of the guys that was bringing in a lot of cannabis, and I'm like, Jesus, it's mad like to think nowadays you walk around the streets of Dublin and you just smell nothing but it. You know, cigarettes are too expensive for an awful lot of people nowadays, so they just start buying that, it seems, allegedly, speculatively. So she used to write a lot of pieces about guys like that and have interviews with guys like that. But what's interesting and what's fascinating about Veronica Guerin is, and an awful lot of people don't know, is she actually worked for the Hotties and worked with the Hotties and was friends with the Hotties. So she was in those types of areas with those types of people. And I don't know, you might be able to tell me, I don't know. But I don't remember any massive expose or chasing down those guys about what they were doing or anybody else in the government. You know what I mean? I think that's interesting. There was a woman that wrote a book not too long ago, and she was lambasted by the media here because of her criticism and her honesty, it was deemed to be, about Veronica Guerin, in that they were painting her as not the saint that the media wanted to paint her at. I mean, the thing is, they wanted to talk about how she was deceitful and how she was ruthless and all of these types of things. These are the things that have been posted online, which is quite interesting to me. So the reason why I've said these things and the reason why I have spoken about that and those people in particular is because you have political dynasties, you have familial ties in these things, and there you go. And this is where I'm going to just link this back in, because we'll get into talking about a couple of the incidents that have occurred here in Ireland over the last week or two. You look at what happened in Stoneybatter there, where a South American, allegedly, spectively, has gone around knocking on doors and has attacked people in their homes. Marie Sherlock, who was from Cork, get this, a woman from Cork was voted in by the inner city of Dublin. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. So she was voted in by the inner city people. Of course, they voted for her over Malachy Steenson. Of course, they voted for her over Gerard Hutch. You know, we're supposed to really super duper believe that, of course, you know, which is very interesting to me because she also has family that were in politics. Quite fascinating when you look at it like that, isn't it? So, to me, there's an awful lot happening in the country. We've only seen how things are going to go wrong over the last couple of weeks, and this stuff is just going to keep ramping up. There has been posts that have been made, which I think are wonderful, and it's just stating the obvious, which is you've got young women going on jogs and not coming home. You've got elderly women being attacked in their own home. You've got elderly women being robbed in their own home, and elderly men. You've got a variety of people now that are going to have scars for life over last week because this government are inept. And not only are they an inept government, but they're also a dangerous government. You see there this week, and again, what I'm doing right now is I know I'm bringing thoughts together. I'm firing darts at the board here, and we can all slag about it later on. But you have a government now that is attempting to kowtow to people and say, yeah, we're going to get on top of this immigration problem really soon. Well, that could have been done years ago. There's a lot of people that have reached out to me in the last week or two, and they have stated about how they have travelled through Dublin Airport and how that you used to have Gardaí on immigration, and now they're looking at people that are just average Joes on immigration. One person messaged me and said there was an African sitting on an immigration desk here in Dublin and Ireland. That's absurd to me, and it's absolutely unbelievable. as to what's going on. There's people that are out there that say, but they're just working and they're contributing. But here's the thing, right? You have to look at what's going on in the country as a whole and say to yourself, first of all, Africa is not in the EU. So what are Africans doing in Ireland, first and foremost? Second of all, putting someone in a position like that, no matter who they are, like, you have to understand the risks that come with that too. You start an Irish bar over in America, and of course, Irish people are going to flock to it. Most Irish people will be in the chat and they go, I wouldn't go to an Irish bar. It's away from more than I want to get when I go away. But the point remains, anywhere you put someone, they're going to look after their own. So I think that this country needs a very strict immigration task force. I think we need something akin to what they have in America, like ICE. ICE are doing a phenomenal job. There was a video that Salty Cracker did, and big shout out to Salty Cracker. He's been doing wonderful work there in America. There was a video that he did last week, and it really caught my attention because there was a woman on it, and she was video recording in Walmart, and she was like showing the whole place, and she was like, "This is 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. This is usually full with people, and people speaking Spanish and Portuguese. Since the administration has come in and has just leveled the threat of ICE at these people have all scarpered. It's amazing stuff, and that's how easy it is. If a task force like that was set up tomorrow, which is easily done, the government can decide to put levies on your pensions, on your petrol, on your cigarettes, on your beers, whatever it might be, overnight. But they can't seem to figure out how to get a task force together and get a load of people out. It's been done on purpose. That's the most important thing to understand about that. Like, if I was running the show at this stage of the game, do you know what I'd be doing? I would be having Satirical Soldier. He would be head of getting these people out. You know, the Get Them Out Brigade. That's what I would have. You know, not ICE. Get them out. GTO. That's what I would have. Get them out onto dinghies and good luck to you. I couldn't care less, because we need to turn this country around. Now, a lot of people have commented on the channel in recent days, and they have said, listen, Ninja, the time for talking on that. I get you, I hear what you're saying. But what's happening is the screw is being turned on these people, and it's been turned across Europe. You're seeing what's happening in the UK, you're seeing what's happening in Germany. The AfD are on the cusp of potentially winning an election over there, which will turn Germany on its head, which will be a good thing, because they hold the keys to power when it comes to the EU. Hungary are still doing their thing, Poland are still doing their thing. So there's a lot of positives to be happening across the globe. And like, this is the thing when you look at with the Irish government as well. When you see what happened with that election, I have an awful lot of question marks around that thing. And I think when you see what happened in America in 2020, to be honest with you, when you see something happening like that on that scale, it's happening elsewhere. You know what I mean? So our government and our politicians are little bitches, is what I want to say. And they will just row in with whatever anyone else is doing. So, for example, with Trump, it was real cool over them the last couple of years to tell them that Trump was a nasty man and he was a bald boy and he was very naughty and all that. Trump walks into Ireland tomorrow, they're just going to bend the knee to him, no problem at all. That's what happens. Now, they have their allegiances to the likes of Biden and that demographic and that side, 100%, because they rolled the red carpet out for him and told you he was a great guy. Meanwhile, there's videos of him going around sniffing kids. There's videos of him there now pardoning people that were up to, I would say, really evil stuff over the last number of years and pardoning them. And the Irish government and media are like, shh, let's not talk about that. If it feels like I'm talking at length here, I have an awful lot to get off my chest, so, you know, we'll get into the chat in a few minutes. So you have all of this brewing in the background, but another thing happens, and that was revealed today on Gript Media's YouTube channel, and they spoke about how when an incident occurred in Dublin, but maybe I think it was Wicklow, I think they were referring to. I think it was more accurately Wicklow that they were referring to. And they spoke about how the Gardaí were looking to access data. So Gript were saying that the Gardaí wanted to spy on them. Now, that's a very serious accusation to level, and it's not an accusation that I think is surprising because of what we've seen and the types of stuff that we've seen over the last number of years. I mean, you had official Garda pages on Twitter liking the posts of Antifa Ireland. You know what I mean? So when you're seeing stuff like that, you're like, these people are in cahoots. There was an article that went up today, and Satirical Soldier, I'm bouncing between topics here now because I've lots on my mind. I'm just firing it out here and giving you information. Satirical Soldier shared it out today. Minute were telling people that they're going to give 2 million for people to be researching about different sorts of DEI nonsense, right? They deleted the tweet real quick because everyone's looking at that now and they're going, where's that money coming from? And they're alerting the likes of Elon Musk because Elon Musk is perpetually on Twitter and he's looking at what's going on. He's seeing what's going on. It's no mistake that JD Vance comes across to the EU and tells them what they are to their faces. You know what I mean? Romania has cancelled their election. This is another thing as well, Theo, that I wanted to bring up. And this is why this all impacts us, because these are the levels that these people are going to. There was a guy called George Skew. Now, I know this because I have quite a few friends that are Romanian. And these people have been telling me that they were very happy to vote for George Skew. And they said that he wanted to get in, and he campaigned a lot on TikTok in particular. And he didn't do an awful lot of other things, didn't do mainstream media or anything like that. He was on the cusp of winning the election over there. And the ruling party that are in Romania, that are responsible for a lot of people leaving Romania and keeping those people out of Romania, decided to cancel the election. They were like, no, we're going to annul this because we don't know whether this is legit or not. And then you have the likes of the EU that have the balls to say to you, yeah, no, Trump is totally a bad guy. You've got your man John O'Brien, who has actually said and has been positive towards George Soros and has been positive towards the WEF. There is a page online, as far as I know, that links John O'Brien to the WEF. You know what I mean? So, like, these people are all part and have their faces in the trough. So, look, we'll jump into the chat and we'll say hello to a couple of people and we'll get talking about a couple of stories here tonight as well, because, again, like I said, I'm going to try and keep this one brief before tomorrow's stream. So I do appreciate everyone that comes in, and then see if this laptop decides to work itself. This thing is ancient, it is, and we will see how long. Here it says, hello folks, great to see Ninja return. Abide by common sense in the chat to keep the channel going. Stay positive. Yeah, we have our mods in here, we do as well, so we're all good, like, you know. Chris Bourne says, how are you, Ninja Knight? Long time no see. Good to see you. The Point Man says, great to have Ninja back. Shane Connie's in here, says, how are you lads? All good. John says, hello. Kieran Martin says, well, who's? I love that. Davina O'Connor says, hope the Ninja Knight rises. Good to see us. Good to see us, guys. CK Visibility's in here, says, good evening all. Mick Lally says, good man, Ninja. We've got 84 people in here of a Tuesday night. Much appreciated. Bad night for Celtic, isn't it? You know, when you look at those guys and you see that they had the old Palestine flags and all that, I think that's very funny. We're not making political statements. Okay, you gone off to the front line there by any chance? And as far as I'm concerned, I think build the ball around both of and just don't let us out, you know what I mean? There's a third option, though. Christianity regain. Anyway, we'll go on here. Armchair Limerick Nationalist says, Ninja Knight, welcome back. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Let's see how far we get down here in the chat there. A lot of people shouting out to each other. It's great to see. The camaraderie in this chat is unbelievable. Letitia Logan says, hi Ninja, hi chat, just listening, wrecked. Refusing Sean says, what's up, Patriots? Got to see people in here. Emmanuel Godson's in here. He says, hey fellas, Emmanuel, you're late. Yeah, you're flat out there now. Billy the Kid says, SF women wearing face masks taking a knee down the Black Power fist with a BLM flag behind them. That's right. And they were also in Croke Park as well. Do you remember that as well, when you couldn't have a community confirmation nor a wedding? And yet they could open Croke Park for people that are not native of this country and are bringing a religion that has a prophet that married the child. You know? People have never been so high in this country. Went on holiday, still couldn't escape. A fella asked me, did we mind smoke this place? What would I know? Someone else. The chat is absolutely flying here tonight. It is great to see everyone here. Let's have mothers and fathers singing their children in schools up to rainbow communists, globalists, anti-neutrality, warmongering, and PDF foils and migrants. Yeah, there's some mad stories that have been going on here. Sean says, I asked Salty Cracker last week, would he please do a video on the mass immigration in Ireland, as he's a big following here? I'd love to do a stream with Salty. That'd be great, you know. Sean O'Riordan says, Trump is a false prophet. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving the left going crazy, but wake up. Do you actually think the powers that be, you know, who they are, would allow Trump back in for no reason? Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, everybody knows who's running the show when it comes to the world in general. It's the group you can't talk about, you know. Kanye proved it again. Kanye, he was out again last week. He was writing in loads of things there last week. And next of all, they were like, Shopify has now deleted Kanye's page. And everyone was like, who owns Shopify? And it's like, oh, all right. Interesting that now. Interesting to see that now. Anyway, we'll go on and talk about a little bit what went on the last week. So in the last week, you might have heard this. They're trying not to talk about this now. They want to talk about the lads there that were in... What were they doing? There was a couple of fellas there in the last couple of days. The media are making a sensation there. It's interesting, the timing on these things. They're making a sensation that there was a couple of fellas that were up to no good, Irish guys that were up to no good. I mean, this is the thing, and this is what you get with the left. They're like, but look, we have bad guys that are Irish. Yeah, you know, we do, and they should be dealt with, but we should also not be letting in more bad guys from other places. But see, the left are a cult, they are, and they're not a very positive cult. They're a death cult, as a lot of people would say. So you've got one person in particular that used to run the Antifa Ireland page, allegedly, speculatively, and she's eulogising the doctors and engineers, and particularly the doctor and engineer that is now no longer with us there from last week. Okay, fascinating stuff. These people are nuts. These people are nuts. This John O'Brien fella as well is at the same sort of stuff. You don't know what happened. I know what happened, and it's something that I report on and put a video out on about 2 years ago. Do you remember the video that came out there around Grafton Street? Now, I didn't record the video, someone else did. And a taxi driver was having a disagreement with another taxi driver, and lo and behold, they were both African. Well, one fella provided a machete. He was like Blade. He was like Wesley Snipes. This thing came out of nowhere, and he noticed he was on video, turned around and put it away and walked away. This is what's in the country now. Okay, so just as we're aware. So the young guy that was clipped, again, this is the thing that they'll say, the young astronaut, the young soon-to-be solicitor last week, who is now, his wings have been clipped. This is why the left can't do anything about it, because X has turned the narrative real fast. What they would have done after last week, now, because it was another one of them, allegedly, speculatively, that has done it, there's a real hush around that. They want to talk about the fellas across in Dublin 15 and what they were up to, but they don't want to talk about the guys that were running around town with machetes or anything like that. You know what I mean? Weird that, isn't it? It's how they decide to do one thing and not the other. But here is a post, and I'm just going to read it out here from a channel called Europe on Top. And they say, the Nigerian that is no longer with us since in Anstri was wanted for the fruit grape in Italy. The Nigerian arrested in connection with this is a certain offender of a very negative nature, forcing himself on people here. The other Nigerian being held is on bail on knife charges, and this is the scum our government is important. There are thousands of them now. So that is a channel called Europe on Top. They're across there on Instagram. They have 103,000 followers. So they say Gaelic era as well there they have. So they're reporting this. Now, that's a litany of offences that are happening here in this country insofar as how did these guys get here? The guy that was clipped anyway, there's reports about him in Italy and how he was being looked for and that he was being charged with, allegedly, speculatively, with a very serious crime. And how did he find his way out of there and into this place? Like, that's unbelievable to me. Yet you have the likes of Grift Media then reporting and saying that they were being stalked by the Gardaí, or they were being spied on by the Gardaí, allegedly, speculatively. That's strange, is it not? So how come, and now look, it's not strange, because here's the truth of what's going on now, right? And it's like the video I put out there yesterday. It is easier for the Gardaí to be harassing people for posts on social media. The German gang are looking to do that now. They're looking to arrest people for memes online. The UK have currently arrested 3,300 people for social media posts. In Russia, it's about 400. But you're told that Russia is a dictatorship and Russia is really bad. But in the UK, they've arrested 3,300 people for social media posts. Free speech, what? You know, the likes of the EU and Zelensky, by the way, he was talking about putting together an EU army. Micheál Martin at the moment is like, no. Now, Micheál Martin is wired in that respect because his son would probably get drafted if that was to occur. The likes of other people that don't have any family and don't have any future probably would be all for that. Now, I'm going to be straight up here with you, and I'm going to say this now. And it's like this, and I've said this online. If they decided to try and put an EU army together and try to force me out of my country onto foreign soil to conduct any sort of business elsewhere, I won't be doing that. What you will do is you will create many a John Wick, you will create many a John Rambo, and you will be walking down the path towards a very new 1916 real fast. Because there isn't a chance me or my kin would be leaving this country to be fighting a war on foreign soil. Not when we have traitors in our midst. Not when we have evil in our midst. Because that is not for me. So, I think an awful lot of people, and a lot of people have been saying it online too. They're like, absolutely no way would I be going to the EU and be defending the blue flag with stars on it. No chance, because we all know who's running it. We all know who wants to perpetuate these wars. We all know, for example, over the years that we've got, and we're getting bombarded with it again. The Michael D. Higgins scenario has been hilarious to watch as well. With the whole, don't go to the memorial. He turns up anyway and still talks. The more questions that people are asking about this situation, the worse it's looking for them. And what I mean by that is you've got politicians now that are trying to keep up with social media trends and are trying to keep up with social media reports, that what they do on one day is being totally hypocritical the next day. And we're seeing these people in real time shift and pivot and try to change. They used to be able to get away with they used to be able to get away with things much easier when social media didn't exist. This is why social media is a big problem for them, because you have videos that are coming out now of people asked questions. You got the video, for example, of Mary Lou McDonald that came out. The video that I did, it did over 30,000 views, which is great, and I appreciate that. But you get people that are now average Joes that have seen through the cracks and are not buying the nonsense anymore. So what they do is now they're able to challenge these politicians, and these politicians then are being caught on camera saying and doing different things. And what you lead yourself towards now is a society that just doesn't trust politicians, and rightfully so. Because why should you trust career lawyers? Why should you trust people that have actively, and this is the thing, they have actively looked to promote sodomy every year. They have actively looked to and have been successful in removing future Irish generations. They have been successful in currently replacing you. And what I mean by that is also the housing problem. So I think it was the Journal there a couple of weeks ago put up an article on how so many people that are attending these house viewings are Indian. I've been saying that for about 2 years. And anybody that's been in the housing market in the last 10 years knows that this is happening. They know that the biggest groups, I should say, that are buying houses right now in Ireland are Asians and the Indians. Because as I said before, what these two groups do is they pool their resources together and they are able to buy one house, and then they do the same for another house. And soon enough, you find that they've either bought an entire street or they have bought a lot of houses around the area. And a lot of these guys sublet then as well to other people of other nationalities, because it's all about making money. And let me tell you this, the Asians are extremely good at making money, and are extremely good at making money without anybody having to look into what they're up to. How do I know that? Go into a Chinese restaurant and see if they accept card. Loads of the fast food takeaway places don't accept card. Not that I'm someone that is a big fan of pushing that sort of stuff on them, but here's the thing. If you're going out and you're working a job and you're getting 40% of your wage taken off you, or if you're getting a large amount of wage taken off you through tax, and you look across and there's a gang there that may or may not be paying it, you're going, well, it's very easy to see why they can afford an awful lot more than you can, and why prices keep going up. So this is it. You've also then got people that are on waiting lists there to go and see doctors. This is all a huge problem with immigration, and this is what it all ties back to. But I want to make this point clear, and this is the important point to be making constantly. It is the politicians that are at fault for all of this. These are the people that are wedging these people into the country and are overstuffing it. Leo Varadkar's not going to worry about a house. Simon Harris's not going to be worrying about a house. Nor is he going to be worried about his kids getting a house. It's all going to be sewn up for these people. They're not worried about them. And until they're worried about them, then it's not going to change. And what I mean by that is, I mean that replacing them in the political sphere that they're in. We have a couple of years right now to make a run at it in terms of a nationalist, patriotic government taking the places of these people. I think it's very doable. I look at the system and I'm looking at it the same way as you are, which is you look at it with an air of despondency and you say, if they did it just there in November, they'll do it again. But I think what happened in America, for example, is they made it too big to be able to take it, if you get me drift there when I'm saying that. And I think the same can happen here. What I do think should be happening is I do think all nationalists and patriots should be rounding together and forming one mega party. Mega party, because people will be like, yeah, that's a good one, because that make Ireland great again. I like the idea. Mega, make Ireland great again. Make Ireland great again. That would be something that I would all be for. And I think that is something that could be a political juggernaut that would take on the likes of the government and the government parties. You see, what's happening right now is you've got great speakers that are on our side of the fence, and I do my best to try and bring people onto the show to show you and expose these people to you, to let you know that these people are out there and they exist and they are standing up and fighting for you. But the mainstream media are never going to give them that. It's very easy. And look what happened there. They had the leaders' debates that they decided to whittle down from about 6 or 7 different people they did to 3 people. So, like, what message does that send people? It's realistically sending a message to people. And this is what my interpretation of it is. In my opinion, what it's trying to do is it's trying to psychologically operate on people that there are only 3 options. And you've seen that fall out since then, since that election. You've seen people say, well, it's Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, or else it's Sinn Féin. It's one of those 3, and it has to be one rather than the other 2. And you're looking at it and you're like, this is how psyoped people are here in this country, that they don't think that there's an alternative. And that's because the alternative hasn't united and it isn't big enough. It's easy for them to say, well, the National Party don't exist, the Irish Freedom Party don't exist, this doesn't exist, that doesn't exist, the Irish Ireland Force doesn't exist. It's easy for them to do that and say that. But if you had one united group, I think that would go a long way. Whether it is to row in behind the National Party and everyone goes towards that one, whatever it may be, that's up to people that are in those frames to do that talking amongst themselves. But I do think that before the next election, that's what people should do. I do think that would be the best course of action. And I do think, at the very least, I think they got a bloody nose when it comes, and what I mean by that is the establishment got a bloody nose they did when it came to the council selections and votes there, because there are so many spaces that are open. But I do think that by the next time another one comes around now, they will try and sew that one up too. This is a big problem, and that's what I mean by that. I think we've one crack at the whip. What's happening right now is Councillor Patrick Quinlan is doing wonderful work exposing what's going on. Councillor Gavin Pepper and Councillor Malachy Steenson are also doing savage work with what they're doing. They're exposing what's going on. They're ending up having media articles written about them, about what they're doing, which is causing more attention being drawn towards what's happening. And I think their lack of wanting to get involved with these people and refusing to vote, for example, in certain circumstances, has worked, because what ends up happening is the media and the left, as a result, going to meltdown, and people look and go, what's going on over here? And your attention's more drawn to it. I think it's fascinating stuff it is. There's also the potential of Conor McGregor running for a presidential bid, which is, to be honest, is going to be really interesting to see what way that one shakes out. We'll see what happens with regards to that. A lot of people covering his story and what's going on there. And, I think it's really interesting that Conor McGregor also had the same judge as Enoch Burke there recently. And the judge recently was very upset about Conor McGregor allegedly having CCTV and that was in his possession. And he wanted that deleted ASAP. Quite the scenario. Because then he was very upset about the opportunity of the CCTV being released. And as he said, the court of public opinion turning against the case and the jury and the way they rule things. Now, I don't know about you, but again, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened or anything like that. And again, whatever happens insofar as his appeal. But when I saw the case of Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, a lot of people, and Johnny Depp was dropped by the likes of Disney and he was vilified for a number of years. And when push came to shove and the case was broadcast to people, which I think was a masterstroke on whoever decided to do it on Johnny Depp's side, on his side, I should say, it ends up winning because the court of public opinion, I should say, absolutely turned the tide, because people looked at it and they seen what she was at and they seen what she was saying, and people went, no. Now, I'm not saying that that's what occurred in the Conor McGregor case or anything like that, but what I'm saying is, I think now that we live in a point in time, and this is for anybody that's outside this country looking in this, you've got a lot of people in this country that begrudge and hate anyone that do anything successful they do. There's people that would viscerally hate you too, for example, right? And I'm just using them as an example. Now, I don't like the political statements that the likes of Bono makes at times like that, but I don't viscerally hate him. I just say to myself, okay, he does what he's doing, and that's all right. And I like a couple of the tunes. All right, it just is what it is, okay? But you've got people out there that viscerally hate him. And I'm like, why do you hate him? I don't know. I just don't like him. It's like, okay, the same can be said to anybody that gets famous or anything like that here in the country. And the same thing has definitely been applied to Conor McGregor. And that's a big factor there as well. So anyway, going back onto the topic of what's happening at hand, I think what we're looking at right now is a very interesting time. And we're having a conversation finally as a nation about what's happening with regards to the incidents that occurred last week. So we've got a number of them that have happened in the country, and it's not good. So you've got Jim O'Callaghan now. Everybody knows as well, by the way, that Jim O'Callaghan is the brother of Miriam O'Connor. So there's a link there towards the media. Now, a media member also was recommended to Shannon Aaron there in the last week or two as well. So when they want to say that there's no connections between the politicians and the media, well, they've actually shown that there absolutely is, because you're recommending those people forward into those positions. I wanted to talk about as well, just as we're moving on here, the Irish Inquiry did a brilliant story. Now, just let me pull it up here. I was going to pull it up here on the screen, but what I'll do is I'll just talk through it, because I'm not wanting this stream to be, what shall I say? I don't want the stream to be changed up insofar as if you go out into a different window, it makes a mess of it. So just give me a second here. So we'll go down here now and have a look here, because the Irish Inquiry have been doing a great job there. I have a video impending on them as well that I'll just tell you here on the stream. Stephen Kerr, anyway, was looked after in terms of, he was being harassed, he was, about the sniffles restrictions, and he's all good now, so I like to hear about that. So Suzanne Delaney says, why won't the media report Leela has been convicted of actual child abduction, not attempted? And did you know the punishment for child abduction can be as little as a fine? So there was a guy called Visak Rajesh Leela. Now, as you know, that doesn't sound like an Irish name, even though you've got people that will say, oh, well, if they're born. No. This guy is hailing from a place there where things like this occur all the time. So I just want you to be aware of that. So Suzanne goes on and says, why is it not reported what exact charge Leela pleaded guilty to? Will Leela be deported? Number 3. Number 4, why is the story not being widespread reported in mainstream media? Because I'll give you the answer to that one. Racisms, that's what they'll say. It's racisms that people are focusing on a guy that's not from this country and has like what sounds to be like an Indian name. Yeah, okay. That's what the media will try and say. Number 5, and are there pulse records listing the number of child abductions in Ireland? Make your own estimation about that one, considering the amount of people that are running around this place. I mean, I had a conversation with a person there only the last couple of days, and they were telling me how they love Ballymallow Relish, and I was like, do you know about the guy that owns that? And they were like, no. And I said, well, you should look into it. If you haven't looked into that, have a look. That's all I'll say about that one. You know, it's a very interesting case, to say the very least. Anyway, moving on, number 6. Have there been other recent child abduction cases? Now, to me, we have some pretty interesting things that are happening in this country. And you've got a lot of kids that have gone missing as well under a certain agency, allegedly, speculatively, and people are wondering where they're at, what they're up to, what's happened to these people. How have they come into the country? Who have they come into the country with? Under what? Now, there was a video that came out there about 6 or 7 months ago, and there were people that were sticking kids onto what seemed to be a sort of like, what would you say, like a minibus, if you want to go with that, maybe even like a van bus type idea. And there was a guy that was just there with his phone. They were at an airport, and he's like, where are these kids going? Who are they with? And these people are just, do you know when you look at a video and you say to yourself, this is suspect? The adults that were there wouldn't answer him. And then he asked the driver, like, where are these people going? Where are these kids going? And your man's just like, that's none of your business. He was asked then not to speak by another person that was off camera, that the camera then turned towards. It was one of the most sinister videos that I've ever seen. And he's like, where are these all gone? Now, if it was me, I would be looking to, and I mean, in American airports, by the way, it's crawling with police. I would be highlighting that and alerting the police immediately as to what's going on, because if that looks suspect, and the video did look suspect, I would be highlighting that real fast. There are situations that are going to happen now in the next 6 months where if they do decide to release files on things like, I mean, the Department of Government Efficiency that's happening in America, DOGE, is ransacking places over there, agencies, the whole lot, and it is finding levels of corruption you wouldn't believe. It is finding money that's been spent on things in unbelievable situations. They found that there was money being spent on a DEI dance here in Ireland, and that's just one instance of what's going on. And you know as well as I do that this country and this government in particular, and previous governments, have extremely close ties to those over in America, and particularly those on the left-hand side. So the amount of messing that's going on over there is absolutely going on over here. You've got the idea of $1 billion being spent on more foreign aid. It's absurd stuff. Why is $1 billion being spent on foreign aid when you've got elderly people here, for example, our own people freezing in their own homes over the course of winter? You had people in Galway, for example, satirical soldiers, one of them. I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but you have people in Galway and across the country, and you might be one of them. And this is how quick and easy people forget, and how people are not angry enough yet. You had no power for the guts of a week, 2 weeks maybe. They actually, and this is what's happening in Dublin, there was videos that came out of it, of migrants being moved from one hotel to another because A, there was either no power, or B, there was no water for them. They were moved at your expense. You paid for that. You paid for that because you paid for that through taxes. Meanwhile, your aunt or your uncle, there was a guy across in the country there that had hypothermia. A farmer, for example. I mean, this is unbelievable to think that that's happening. You've got an Irish guy that erected a cabin in some place around the country. Again, the name escapes me as to where that happened right now. But he put up a cabin and he's been brought and dragged through the courts for these things. You've literally got places that have been built that are illegally built here for migrants in this country around the place. You've got people that have protested outside these places and have done other things with regards to these places, highlighted these places over the last couple of years, and that's just been rolled on. We have the clean house top to bottom. And while people might not like it, the fact of the matter is this. Why I drew and why I draw Conor McGregor into this is because for this very sole reason. He's the only one with the amount of money that he has to try and turn what's going on around. There's nobody else coming to help. Colin Farrell is not coming to help. Brendan Gleeson is not coming to help. None of them. None of these big names. Michael Fassbender ain't coming to help. None of these people, Barry Keoghan, not coming to help. These people are not coming to help the situation. Liam Neeson, not coming to help. So that's why people gravitate towards Conor McGregor, and why they gravitate towards him, because he is one of the only, if not the only person in this country that possesses the level of money that he has to try and turn the tide. Now, why do I say that? Well, that also links in because whatever fallout from the case happens, then he loses sponsorships. So Brendan Schaub was talking about that. Brendan Schaub, I should say, was talking about it, and he was saying, look, one sponsorship could be worth 10 million. You know, and that's a lot of money to be taken off a person for sure. And that's just one. There's other sponsorships that are out there because of contracts and all this sort of stuff, right? This to me, again, when you look at it from the outside and say, are these people vindictive enough to do things like that? I do think so. And when you look at and I mean, why I say that, why people are vindictive enough to do these type of things, and I think so, is because you've got people, again, in government that are cheering and celebrated, for example, pure and utter sodomy being celebrated in this country, but also celebrated future generations no longer existing through that repeal the 8th. So that's the way I look at it. It's very simple and it's very direct with it when I think about it like that. So you've also got down to the Irish inquiry. Just to go back onto this guy, Leela. Leela is likely here on a student visa, given he is a PhD student. What was he studying? There's been no mention of a deportation order thus far. He'll be sentenced to March 16th. The story is not being widespread reported because crime by migrants is demonstrably a problem, and the establishment and media want you to ignore the knife-wielding, child-abducting, grape enthusiast elephant in the room. You have had people, and there's been 2 foreigners particularly, that have decided in the last couple of days to get up on their plinth on Twitter and say, it's not brown people, it's not black people that are causing these things. I'm going to slow your roll there, honey, because guess what? You have the likes of America there, for example, and these are statistics. I know Matt to be racist, but this is the thing. You have statistics in America that determine that 13% of the population commit 52% of the violent crime. Fact. Chicago, no-go zone for white people. South Africa now is a no-go zone for white people. Look at what's happened to Boer over there, the Boer people. They're actually being given amnesty in America if they want to get out of there. So these are things that are happening. You've also then got the other issues that are happening then when you have a gang of people that are constantly driving into crowds and are constantly involved in situations. At what point in time are people going to go, do you know what, bit of a pattern there? You know what I mean? Look what's happening in Germany. Literally nearly weekly it's going on. There's a car driving into their crowd. Who did it? Oh, yeah, he's shouting at, is he again? Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Like, these things just didn't exist when we didn't have a lot of these individuals here. You know what I mean? And it's like Andrew Tate was saying recently. If you have 10 bars of chocolate and 2 bars of chocolate are poison, are you going to chance handing all the bars of chocolate out? Or would you say, no, hang on here for a second. let's not have any bars of chocolate. You know what I mean? That's the way I would look at it, and I think a lot of people are starting to look at it that way. But this is the point that I want to make. The government are also drafting these people in so that you're fighting amongst each other and you're more upset about what's going on here than what's happening with them. And again, like I said, you've got the police that are interested now in having a look at data and messages and stuff like that belonging to an independent outlet rather than actually getting up off their holes. And that's what you should be doing. You should be getting up off your hole and looking at what the government are doing and who they're linked to. Because that's what I would have you doing. If I ran Ireland tomorrow, there'd be a number of things that I would do. First of all, what we'd be doing is there would be public, shall we say, public showings of people that have been convicted of doing things like PDF file engagement, right? Public showings and in front of everyone. Good luck. Outsies, right? You're not being housed at the taxpayer's expense. Good luck to you, right? The second thing I would do is I would create a task force that is going to deport and round up people that are illegal here in this country. That would be the next thing I would do. The third thing I would do is I would investigate each and every politician and any sort of individual that they have had a link with over the last number of years, particularly left-wing ones. And I would hold them absolutely accountable for what they've done, particularly under the pretense of treason and them being a traitor. That's what I do. I would also then 100% go after each and every one of them that decided to sign away your rights, your freedom, and your civil liberty over a flu. They'd be got too. Like this is real simple as to how this thing can go. And to me, I think that that's the best course of action. And that the only way to do that is to have a nationalist patriotic government. Because if these weasels keep going on doing what they're doing, you're going to see more weakness. You're going to see people that are looking to draft you into an EU army. You're going to see more people now looking to surveil your thoughts and police your speech. You're going to be told you're an istophobe. This is all what's coming down the line because the UK has shown us what's going to happen. Sweden has shown us what's going to happen. Germany has shown us what's going to happen. And they've taken certain measures which has made a lot of people that were in those places abscond to this country. So that's what's happening. Then we got moving on now from that point, and we're going to go on then to the fifth point here by Susie D. The Gardaí records a set of data quality metrics published monthly. These metrics, together with our Pulse data quality framework, are intended to inform users of crime statistics about the quality of the underlying Pulse data. Incidents are grouped together on Pulse cased to facilitate application of the crime counting rules. In 2024, Helen McEntee, I'm advised that there is no category in Pulse that explicitly requires number of attempted child abductions. I'm just going to read that once more. In 2024, now Helen McEntee is now the Minister for Education, by the way, so she has slithered her way from Minister for Justice and made a complete hames of that there over to the Department of Education. There are allegations about her husband being involved in a company that, would you know it, provides people with chemical changes. Weird, isn't it? And that's a person that increased her votership of 2,000 in the last election, allegedly, respectively. Her cousin as well, too, was allegedly, respectively, counting in one of the polling stations. I think that that's odd, to say the very least. Anyway, in 2024, I'll say it again, Helen McEntee, I'm advised that there is no category in Pulse that explicitly requires number of attempted child abductions. Make one, bitch. But this, it's that simple. Make one. Do something. No, we're not going to do that. Well, you might as well be joining that gang then. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Like, if you're not looking at that and saying, this is exactly the thing we should be doing, the fact that you've done nothing about it, it just is absolutely unbelievable. More interested in pushing on hate speech laws and harassing you about naughty words that they don't like, naughty words online. More interested about that than they are about child abductions. That is a shocking statement, to say the very least. Number 6, at the time of the abduction, was reported that Leela was engaging in drunk horseplay when he took the child. A 10-year-old child intervened, bravely having to compromise their safety. How long will it be before a child abduction ends in something more sinister? Again, I'm wording that around for the algorithm, you know what I mean? Last year, a non-national was arrested for attempting to abduct a 2-year-old girl from our pram in Sheriff Street, Dublin, also last year. Gidrius Gessianus, holy moly, what a name, was charged with attempting to abduct a child. The child was approached and grabbed by 2 males, and there was bedding in the car. The previous year, Marek Brieta attempted to abduct a child in Lurgan. He was charged with he faces a series of other charges, including kidnapping, possessing an offensive weapon, which was a knife, exposing himself, and assault of a female child. Like, I mean, honest to God, lads, I'm not even joking you when I say this, like, but public stuff like needs to come back. It really does, you know. There has been other attempts to take children also. With all this in mind, why is the government placing all male iPass centres next to schools and creches? To create, what I would say to that is to create new John Wicks and John Rambos, because that's the way this thing is going to run out. It's a bad, bad idea. So anyway, we'll get on to a little bit more of a positive story, because Michael O'Keefe has this here, and he says, breaking news, big news out of Ireland. The new online misinformation law under the Electoral Reform Act has been put on ice. Big tech opposed it, and even the totalitarian EU, you can tell I'm tired here tonight. There's words that are just getting bleh. Totalitarian. Be people slagging in the channel. You can't speak tonight, but totalitarian EU said it went too far. This is a big win for freedom of speech in Europe. So that's what having the Yanks come across and wag the fingers at the likes of the EU does. And JD Vance seems like an alright skin, you know what I mean? And again, look, I'm very aware that both sides of the coin are being controlled, and I use the term coin there very appropriately. But both sides of the coin are being controlled. I mean, it's like when you have like the Daily Wire. Like the Daily Wire have been 100% exposed over the last while, and it just goes to show what Stephen Crowder said a couple of years was absolutely right. American stuff, you have to be looking at what's going on in the wider world to understand how it's been applied here as well. We also then have a couple of other things that are happening. I just want to scroll through here now and just talk to you about this guy, Umar al-Qadri. This is one thing I just want to harken back here now, right? So, the claim that immigrant people of colour are more violent than white people is false and rooted in harmful stereotypes. Excuse me? What's he talking about? So, are you trying to tell me, Umar, that there's no reason why people are trying to escape these third world shitholes to come to this country then? Is that what you're saying? If they're not as violent as us, and if they're less violent altogether, should people not be staying where they are and staying put then? Like, this is the thing. You've got goofballs like this guy arguing for more foreigners coming into this country, and then in the same breath telling you that the foreigners aren't as bad as us. It's insane levels of stuff. This guy, by the way, have they caught the people that assaulted this guy? Like, what's going on there? They seem to have moved on past that story after people called him Jussie Smollett. I think that's interesting. Violence is linked to factors like poverty, upbringing, and systematic inequality, not race or ethnicity. I would disagree with you wholeheartedly there, and I'll tell you why. Like I said there, in America, it's a very verifiable statistic, and that is Umar, that 13% of the population commit 52% of the violent crime, and that's just the crime that they're caught for. Nobody wants to be talking about the gang stuff that goes on in the likes of Chicago. They don't want to be talking about that. They don't want to be talking about what's going on in Detroit or Baltimore. You see, I have the finger in the pie on those things over there. I know what's going on over there. I also know, by the way, that when you have rappers coming out like Kanye West that's talking about the type of music that's been promoted by those people and what it does. So, for example, Real News Era, aka Thoughts Toby, put out a tweet the other day and said the rap gig that the guy who is now no longer with us attended the other day had a guy that was singing about popping people on the block. Like, you know what I mean? It's been perpetuated literally through their music. You've got a halftime Super Bowl show there last week that was, I think, 50% of it was talking about pop, 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 pop. And you're looking at it going, what's this got to do with American football? Like, do you know what I mean? You're looking at it going, this is weird. But anyway, I would humbly say I do shout out to Kendrick Lamar telling people that they not like us. And like, who's he talking about? And he's talking about PDF files. He doesn't like that. And I'm like, shout out to Kendrick on that one. That's a good one. Nice one. But anyway, he keeps going on and he says, immigrant communities often face over-policing and discrimination, which skew crime statistics. Well, guess what? Umar al-Qadri, if you were at home, it wouldn't happen. Policed by your own people in at home. How about that? That'd be a good idea, no? This is the thing, the whinging and hand-wringing. You literally come from a country of 240.5 million people like you, and yet you're here going, they're mean to me. Like, shut up. Absolutely unbelievable. Media bias further perpetuates these misconceptions. Like, what do you mean by that? If anything, it's been underreported. And not only that, though, but the media have been caught red-handed over the last couple of years, either fabricating stories or hiding the identity of people. I've covered loads of stories on this channel where I'm like, look, it's about 3 paragraphs down, you get to the bounds of what's going on, which is the guys from elsewhere. They try to say Dublin man. This is what they're doing now. This is how deceitful the media are now. They're trying to say, oh, Dublin man was attacked there the other day. They couldn't do that with that video that happened on Ann Street there because the video came out immediately and everyone went, that's not Irish. And straight away, they were like, shit, we can't say that this is a Dublin man that this has happened to. You know what I mean? So they tried to move on past that story real fast. Addressing real causes like economic inequality and unfair policing. Like, this is mad. Now, what they're trying to do there is they're trying to get a foothold within the likes of the Gardaí and in important positions. This is the plan here. So inequality then, like, what do you mean by inequality? There's a story that came out there last week, and I'm just going to talk about it here as well. A story came out there last week, and people are like, this is the mad thing to me as well. People are online going, oh my God, look at this. Biggest mosque in the world being built in Ireland. I have Eastern European friends that said, allegedly, spectively, anyway, they've allegedly, spectively said this, but they said in their places, what they did, allegedly, spectively, was put pig bones underneath the ground everywhere. And they were like, we took pictures, we took videos, anyone that rolls into town, we showed them, you can't do it. And they can't. So I was looking at that going, well, I'm just going to tell people what my friends allegedly, spectively told me. You know what I mean? It prevents these things, is what I would say. Allegedly, spectively. Addressing root causes like economic inequality. Economic inequality is when a couple decide to go and try and buy a house, and they look, people do jobs, and I'm not looking down on people that do jobs or anything like that, or whatever you might. I find that people that are stacking shelves at Tesco are just as important. Our own people are just as important as anybody that's running the country. That's my viewpoint, and I believe that they're as entitled to a home as anybody that's running the country. But what's happening is the people that are running the country are introducing loads of people from other countries in here who are getting freebies, and then others then that are coming with money then, and they're absolutely outbidding people that are a couple, for example, that are stacking shelves in Tesco in their own area, in their own town, in their own country. It's unbelievable. So when you want to talk about inequality, we'll talk about that sort of stuff. Unfair policing. I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to that there. Absolutely absurd sort of comment there. Rather than scapegoating, race is the solution to reducing crime and dismantling stereotypes. As far as I'm concerned, stereotypes exist for a reason. Kanye West said that last week, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, because, look, Irish people enjoy a drink, they enjoy a good time. There is a thing called the Irish goodbye. You know, we don't get upset, and this is the thing. There's a shot named after us called the Irish car bomb. You don't see us getting upset about that sort of stuff. Like, we just laugh and go, ha, yeah, give us one down. Give us four of them, actually. You know what I mean? That's the difference between us and everybody else. We don't mind. So we keep going, we will, through this little stream that I'm doing. It's an hour now. I'm not gone over the time that I said I really would. The Irish Independent, I just want to show you how things are getting like really bad here at the media. And this is the thing, the media is so lacking in testosterone, you wouldn't believe it. So the Irish Independent put out an article, and they say that they have this, and you'll always see it, it's a bearded egg and a very little svelte face and all of that, you know what I mean? It's always a little beta male guy with little small shoulders and all that. I'm a 41-year-old man, and what I'd really love for Valentine's Day is my first ever bunch of flowers. I love to give flowers to people, my wife and my mum mostly, but I've never had this experience myself. Would you say, guys, with that sort of statement, that he gives flowers to his wife's boyfriend? Would you say that? There's a good couple of people be laughing about that gag in the chat. Like, this is one of the gayest things that I've read in a long time. Like, why are we looking at articles like that? You know what I mean? At the same time, we're being blackguarded with shit like that. We're being told at the same time that people that have reactionary views, people that are pro-Irish, that love Ireland, you're the bane of the existence of these people. Keep being the bane of the existence of these people, because it's, you know, Luke O'Connor put that tweet out, and he says, masculinity is dying a death in Ireland. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. So where will we go from here? Oh yeah, here's the next one that I want to bring out, was the journal.ie. I do apologise for not showing you on the screen these articles. I'm just zipping through them here through my bookmarks, because if I did put them on Twitter, it'd take me much longer. The state spent €1 billion accommodating international protection applicants last year. So this is from the Journal 4 days ago. Now, in an article, it was revealed that they spent $280,000 on laptops for people, asylum seekers. I'm going to say that once more, just before we get to the billion, because the billion's a lot of money it is. But €280,000 was spent on asylum seekers or laptops. Like, I look at that expenditure and I say to myself, well, what about the farmer that had hypothermia? What about the various other people around the country? And this is the thing, you see, what they've done over the last couple of years is they've tried to pit people against each other. And look, I'd be the first person to say, involved in tribalism, absolutely. Did a video years ago about Aidan O'Shea pucking Philly McMahon. Now, I don't know whether Aidan O'Shea bet the leftism into him or whether Philly McMahon was always Shilly McMahon. But Shilly McMahon put out a statement, and it was true. It was true, an article that he wrote himself, and he was talking about Philly McMahon. So talking about himself in the third person, bit weird to do that. It's all right when I do it, because when I'm doing this, I'm playing a caricature somewhat. You know what I mean? I'm exciting the crowd. That's what I want to do. And I want to excite people and give you a laugh and have a good time. But when you have Shilly McMahon coming out and saying, there's a big problem here in Ireland, it's the far right, and these people are this, that, and the other. And it's just like, okay, right, first of all, time out here. I ain't going to be taking advice from a man like you at all. And when I say a man, I use that term very loosely, because anybody that's wanting to shove more and more people into this country and create the problems that we're seeing with the migrant crime wave, with the housing crisis, with the health crisis, with all of the crises that have been exacerbated by that, you are no friend of mine. That's what I will say. I'm also, as well, too, very dubious about a person who has a parent that let his brother go the way he did. You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 mo. Take that. So who are you to be lecturing anybody about what you think is the right thing to be doing? Are you not someone that has kids, and you're out there and you're turning around saying to people, we should be accepting the world in here and let it make it more dangerous for us? Like, this is the thing. These people sicken me to do. And that's where you see the likes of Satirical Soldier, and you like it or you might like it. I think it's very funny, and I do agree with him. You see people, for example, that fed their children drink, and these people have been fed drink into the grave and now are on a warpath against the Irish people that love this country, due to Irish people not wanting various other people coming into the country that are going to increase crime rates, that are going to increase the supply and demand for housing to be a very little supply and a very high demand, and prices then that are going to price you out of owning a house perpetually. I can't tell you the amount of people that I know that have had to move out of Dublin to move to another county. Not that there's anything wrong inherently with another county, but I do think, and this is what's happening here, guys, you have people that are moving out from Dublin into other counties. You have people from other counties that are not going to have anywhere to go eventually. This is what I want you to understand. So when I talk about tribalism, I'm bringing it back here to Shilly McMahon. When we're having the laugh about the JA a couple of years ago, this is the thing. It ends up then playing into this hand, which is we've been so much more interested in nonsense like sports ball here, that's got guys like that paraded around that's talking absolute nonsense now, talking shit. And you've got more people with the eye on that than what's happening. And what is happening is our country is being absolutely, this is Treasure Island. Treasure Island, people are calling it. It has been offered up like a hour to the world and been told, come get it, guys. Come get it, guys. You know what I mean? This is unbelievable what's happening here. And our media are perpetuating it. The government are hand in glove with these people. They're perpetuating it. And you're on the receiving end of all of the negativity. Like, unbelievable stuff. So 280 grand been spent on laptops there for foreign people coming into this country that shouldn't be here in the first place. Jim O'Callaghan talking a big one now at the moment, saying there's not an awful lot of it going on here to these guys. So if you're Minister for Justice, why don't you go after Helen McEntee and say, well, you're responsible for that. Joe Harris, you're responsible for that. What about the Attorney General? What's the Attorney General doing? What are all the superintendents doing in the Gardaí? Do you know what I mean? Hold people accountable. Do you remember the video I did a couple of weeks ago? And it was a couple of guys that were out there being accused of something across in England. They were accused of unaliving a person. These guys were walking around the country. At what point in time did we get a press conference to say, here's the goofball that arrested these guys and here's the goofball that left them off? Like, you know what I mean? Wanted by Europol. Interpol. Like, madness. So anyway, the journal, state spent 1 billion accommodating international protection applicants last year. Like, I don't think people understand how big €1 billion is. That is a lot of money. That's a lot of money it is. I forgot at the beginning of this stream, by the way, to say to people to at Ninja Knight in the chat, because it's usually a lot easier for me to be able to see any sort of comments that are there, because we'll try and zip through some comments down a little while. But this is what we got. We've got the government spending $1 billion on people not from this country. And that's what we're looking at right now. You're looking at your homes being cold. You're looking at the likes of electricity prices skyrocketing. You're looking at gas prices skyrocketing. You've got, in the meantime, Fianna Fáil, like, slipping out. There's going to be no credit next year. So guess what? The €125 that you were getting off the bill, not anymore. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. We've got someone in the chat here that's saying, "Hello, Conor McGregor. I have a strong feeling you're watching." I hope he is. And this is the thing. I'd be happy to have him on the stream. I'd be happy to talk to him and see what the political aspirations are and what can be done. He needs to be setting up a media company for sure to challenge RTE. And I'd if I was him, I'd be undercutting them as well too with the likes of internet prices as well, getting Wi-Fi into people's houses. That's what I do. Sotonar says there was no other reason to allow Croke Park is an important place to the Irish people. It isn't only designated space for our cultural games, which run very deep, but it's also where, absolutely 100%, it's where big things happen. Kiki and Jasmine says, I was questioned by 2 guards, female, yesterday evening for saying a prayer for the Irish martyrs outside the Garden of Remembrance. I mean, I've seen a fella there in Britain that was arrested by 2 female police officers and he was just laughing at them, and I was like, yikes. This is what you got. If you have a daughter or a sister or an auntie or whatever, like, don't tell them to go into that gig and be standing on the street because it's going to go wrong. The Point Man says, Ninja, I would love to see you do a stream with Derek Donovan. He's all over this stuff as well. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that for sure. Yeah, I'm open to anyone coming on and doing the stream, End of the line, Joel says, everyone on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, X, and everywhere is spied on. You have to understand that this is the new normal. Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, you had, for example, there the government openly telling people that they wanted to spy on your buying habits over the course of the scam of the flu a couple of years ago. And, like, now I'm back at an eye. They were like, oh, okay. That's highly, highly suspicious and illegal is what I would say. But, of course, they make their own rules up to do. And loads of them have slithered off now into the ether after that election. Like, where else would you get it there? We have Anne Rabbit that's been told effectively, no, get out. And now has been stuck into the channel. Like, that is absolutely bananas to me. But it's a banana republic, guys. That's what it is. This is what's happening in the country. Davina O'Connor says USA had funded rainbow communists, globalists, anti-neutrality warmongers here on Ireland by funding Africa NGO, putting small in Ireland there. Yeah, we've got far too many NGOs here in the country as well. Like, there's way too many of them. And everyone knows as well that what's going on with that. They know that that's just a way of psyoping people and just harassing people into it. You ask most normal people about what they think about things. Lots of people don't know what's going on first and foremost, but some people go into the left-wing nonsense they do fairly sharpish, because it's what's been spewed at them through the TV, through TV shows, through movies. But a lot of people are starting to wake up now and say, hang on, a lot of this is geek, Like, I'm looking at the situation. I know it's not really relevant to this, but I like to talk about it as well. You've got the Captain America movies getting lambasted by everyone. So it's getting absolutely spanked, it is, by everybody, even the people that, like, usually shill for it, because the stuff is over. The wokeism and leftism is over. You've got another thing I just wanted to throw out here as well, too, because Real News there to put this out. I thought this was an interesting tweet. Just give me a sec here and just scrolling here and having a look at it. I'll read it out now. Just give me 1 second. So, where are we there? Here we go. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Tweedcat put this out. In 2021, the Taoiseach hails Ireland's most successful Voldemort rollout in the world. Micheál Martin made the comments after attending the 44th meeting of the high-level task force on the Chinese flu on Monday. And we've got a report here from the 17th of February 2025, so only yesterday. And it says, Ireland second in the EU in new cancer diagnosis report. Well, would you look at that? We're the third highest cancer rate in the world. I do believe that there's an awful lot that's regarding that. I think you've got, for example, the water, for example, fluoride and various other things that are in that. If you can get a water filter, get one. And that would be going a long way to helping you out. But you've also got the copious amounts of geoengineering that's happening here in the country. And I mean, that's stuff that's been banned now in America, and Robert F. Kennedy's going after it straight away. He's going for the jugular. There's people out there that have reported to me that they were talking to people on the canvassing trial that have gone out and were looking for votes, and they spoke to them about the geoengineering, and all of the politicians, surprise, surprise, Cilla Black, surprise, surprise, they told the people at the door that geoengineering wasn't happening. And they were like, no, I was whipping out images and I was showing them, look, there's the lines in the sky here and everything. Like, and there's pilots that are actually talking to you and saying that those lines in the sky should evaporate after 10 minutes if they are what they say they are. But the fact that they don't, it goes to show it is geoengineering. Rob Fingler says, my friend works for social welfare. She says they have Ukrainian refugees working there that have access to systems where they can see everyone's information. Unbelievable. That doesn't shock me at all. I have yet to come across a Ukrainian person that comes across nice. A lot of people reporting to me and they're saying to me, any Ukrainian that they engage with is a snide and smarmy and smug individual. A lot of people don't like them, which is interesting. Very interesting. And you're seeing people now that are saying that they're calling these people scammers as well to their face and they're not liking it. That's it. It is what it is, CST says Ninja Knight, they're all related to each other, friends of friends, etc. AI is not related to each other. Bring it in and clean out the Irish swamp. We 100% need a huge clean up here in this country. Clean up on oil Ireland. I know Salty likes to say clean up on oil America, but clean up in oil Ireland. It's so bad right here, right now. Okay, let's keep going here through this. No friend of mine says Kroger's a gated grounds. There was no protest that I seen. Native Irish says Ninja Knight. Hang on 1 second there. That's how they're skipping down there. Do you know what I find funny just before I jump into that comment as well too? You've got people that are like, look at these people in Ireland. They're standing beside Nigel Farage. You're eulogising the fella that is after being clipped there on the weekend that was wanted for alleged grapefruit in another country. Like, these people aren't well at all. But the day is over of people actually thinking anything of these people and their opinions. Most people don't give a shit now, which is great. Night Warrior says, Ninja Knight, how long will it be before they start taking houses of the elderly and giving them a one-bed apartment instead? Oh, I don't think that's far away. I think that that's exactly what the census was for a couple of years ago. I think the census was supposed to be a little test run to see, first of all, how compliant would people be. Two, I think how honest people would be and how many people they could wedge into a house. I mean, you've got, like, for example, the UK. The UK, I think, look, this is, I suppose, going down the rabbit hole massively here. I think the UK still runs this country in effect, because anything that they do, we seem to follow it about 6 to maybe 12 months later. And I mean, like for like, in what they want to do. You see how bothered they are about the Northern Ireland situation and Brexit and all that. Like it's very, very weird. We could be a self-sufficient country tomorrow, no problem. We wouldn't have to be worrying about British. Like, this is where I look at it from. Then you have the suspect meetings that are being had by Simon Harris and Keir Starmer. You see then Micheál Martin that's looking to do it. You see your man Lammy there as well that's involved in the UK. These are all hugely negative people that our gang are looking to get involved with and are looking to take orders from. So I don't think it's far away from, and this is what I'm saying, it shouldn't be accepted, but I don't think they're far away from doing what the Brits did, which was trying to introduce a bedroom tax or anything like that. You know what I mean? Oh, you only have 4 people living in the house, but you have 5 bedrooms. Well, you guess what, guys? You can build more for more migrants if that's what you want to do. And you're like, no. And then they go, oh, okay. Well, they can go in and live in the bedroom then that you have. No, thanks. Well, we're going to take more money off it. But you already pay property tax. You pay tax on your wages. You pay sales tax. You pay tax, like carbon tax now. Do you know what I mean? You're paying taxes for everything. Like, it's absurd the amount of taxes that we're paying. It really is. Not enough people talk about that enough. The fact that we're paying taxes, it's been spunked away like that. $1 billion there been spent on iPass. Like, that's bollocks. You know what I mean? That's unbelievable to me that we're living in a country that's allowing that. It's madness. So we got Frank Byrne that says there was actually an Iranian refugee that was beaten up by We Love Refugees Brigade in London because he had an English flag. The Iranian was arrested. Billy the Kid says any grown man over 25 who was a lefty is not a real man. Oh, man. Steady Eddie says not leader incitement a nation consists of such foul creatures will accept any dishonor even the man for no one will pledge their own heads for a dauntless resolve. Absolutely. Dennis McGrath says the Pope got money off America. Look way with NGO. Too many NGO working them. Yeah, Mel Gibson really stated it all there. You know. Davina O'Connor, Ninja Knight, are you married? Ask him for a friend. That's the fourth proposal on the channel, guys. Anyway, keep going. Sheepdog says Ninja Knight, how come the cancer rate are different between North and South on the same island? Very good shout there. That's a great shout. Very astute. You're looking and you're watching. Mark Zuckerberg says Ninja Elon has been given a free pass for all private data from all Americans for his AI plans down the line. Nobody will go to jail over the findings of USA. It's a distraction. Yeah, the very valid point. It's, you got to keep an eye on all these people. You really do, especially these people that are being championed in America. I think, look, they're doing good things. But again, like I said, you got to keep an eye on what they do ultimately and overall. Like, are they going to do good things? Now, the left always love to run around and go, see, I told you these guys are bad guys. Like, we're looking at things as they are. That's all we can do. Keith Bourne says Conor McGregor and others need to come together and fund some type of media outfit for sure. There's a plethora of individuals who would contribute. Absolutely, 100%. I do think a media outlet by him would definitely cause an awful lot of problems for this establishment. CST says Ninja Knight, Lockheed Martin, the US weapon company, records the census. That's not strange. Sure, it's not. Speaking of which, as well, too, I said this only not too long ago. He's like, about the geoengineering. I was like, why don't we have a jet that's scrambled? And it's like, if bogey in the wire, get out of the sky, and if they don't get out, kablamo. You know what I mean? That's where it should be going. G Rose 22. What would you all do if you found out the Irish government hand us back to the Brits? I think they did. I think they did 100%. Why do you think Michael Collins was taken off the board? He knew too much. He did. Davina O'Connor says, I'm too old for marrying now Ninja at night, but sure, Irish charm is no harm asking you. Good one, that's a good one. KK24 says, does Conor McGregor do Greenback Productions to know about him? Yeah, he does. I've seen a couple of the people that he signed. Yeah, that's a good shout there as well. But I don't know whether it's just another revenue stream or what the story is with that. You know what I mean? You'd have to kind of ask him. That's the thing. I don't know the guy personally or anything like that. And this is the thing. I'd love to chat to him about these sort of ventures, is what I'd say. But I don't see the Greenback thing as much as a difference from the alcohol thing. Like, I'm not a huge consumer of alcohol or anything like that. So, like, when someone's promoting that stuff, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, you see people that are authentically interested in it, and then others that are just a celebrity that are just throwing their name on it. Like, I mean, Dwayne Johnson, I don't think he drinks tequila, but he's still out there promoting it. You know what I mean? Like, so it is what it is. I think when it comes to celebrities, and they're all looking to make money and make more money whenever they can. So I don't know with the Greenback stuff, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. A real quick shout, because I'm going to do a video on it. I will, and this is probably one that's just going to be like, I'm pulling the string back on the boat with the arrow in it. It's just come out of the quiver. But did anybody see the and this is where I talked about before on the channel, did anybody see the Eskimo Supreme song and video that he has done? Now, I'm not recommending people to watch it. I want to be making that very clear right now to you, okay? But Caspar Walsh and Eskimo Supreme, which is how this channel started, were a band. They were actually together, not like together like boyfriends or anything like that. People be like, whoa, but they were together as a group called Versatile. And that's how this channel started getting kind of bigger, before we kind of delved from popular culture things that are going on into what's going on with the country and the government. But Eskimo Supreme is now with your woman Nevo, and she is someone that was on a certain app not too long ago and was sending pictures of the rasher, So now, I suppose what gives you some sort of comfort is Eskimo Supreme was with a girl a couple of years ago. Very nice girl. Commented on one of the videos as well when I went out and did a video as well too, defending the lads, because all the media piled on them. They did, about what went on. Now, the long and short of the story was there was a woman who is black, and she got offended by what the lads were saying. She decided to judge her up because the lads were getting bigger. Tried to jump on it and tried to make a career for herself. Failed miserably. Don't even mention her name because she's out of any sort of limelight now. Nobody cares. Went on a load of different things she did. No one likes her. So it ended up showing what she was. But Eskimo Supreme put out this video a month ago, and I saw the image straight away, and I was like, oh no. I was like, no. So I've been tracking what's going on with Nevo for a little while. Now, Nevo decided to come out against people on this side of the fence and was trying to say that people were racist and bigots and Islamophobes and all that. And I was like, okay, because they're wanting to defend their country and make sure that the country's not overrun. Like, what an idiot. I don't think anybody should be listening to Nevo anyway, taking her seriously. But what I'm moving on from that point to move it towards this is, then there was a bit of a hullabaloo because another girl accused Nevo of grooming someone. So I was like, wow, okay, well, that's kind of strike two there when it comes to these things. Neva then was trying to go on to RTE, I think it was. I don't know if she's on RTE or Virgin Media, and she was talking about BBLs and how the women in the chat now are going to be delighted with this because this is all the sort of gossip. They love this sort of stuff they do, The lads are being here listening going, I don't know what's going on. What's the point he's getting to? The point is good now. I'm not joking, you lads. When I get to the point, you'll see what I mean. So we're looking at that. And we're looking at the tweets that Neva was mentioning. And then it got to a point then where Neva was starting to say, well, because I speak Irish, I'm more Irish than the Irish people that are out there that are policing the streets as to people coming into this country and having an issue with that. Insane comments. Got an awful lot of blowback. And then what ended up happening was came out as autistic. So I've been saying to people for a very long time, usually when someone gets a lot of blowback, the easy thing to come out and say to people is, I have a disability, and people will go, I'll poor you, and they'll leave you alone because they feel like it's punching down. Where am I getting towards in this story here now? Well, here's where it's going. So Eskimo Supreme put out a video, and the thumbnail of the video is him dressed as the devil. I couldn't believe it. Now, why do I use this, and why am I talking about that? Because then you've got Caspar Walsh, who in the last number of months has attributed an awful lot of his growth and his success to his now fiancée, beautiful looking girl, and not on social media from what I can understand. So I don't know anything about her. So he's also been baptized, and he is a born-again Christian, and I think that's a fantastic thing to be doing. What is weird is Eskimo's now going on to mainstream media and doing interviews. He's now saying that he had this idea for a while, and I'm like, very strange. And it's also a promotion then of the devil, because in the video, the devil kills an angel in the video. Very weird is what I would say. Now, there is going to be a video coming out about that, because a lot of people have been asking me, they're like, Ninja, have you seen this video? And these are guys that you were shouting out a couple of years ago. So the video has gotten 160,000 views after a month. Now, his missus is also doing a podcast. This is Nevo, is doing a podcast for Go Loud Productions. Where have Go Loud popped up before? That's right, guys. And this ties it back then to the Talking Bollocks podcast. Bauer Media, German company, own Go Loud, which is in charge of these people. We also see in there, and this is why I'm talking about this thing as I am, because media literacy and understanding the connections between these people is very important, because the government and the media have now understood what's gone on. They see of a Tuesday night that this channel can pull in about 150 people, right, on a Tuesday. That's just me. I've seen people with tens of thousands of subscribers that can pull in 10 watchers, live watchers on a show. Okay, so I really appreciate that you're here on Tuesday night. I really do, and we'll be here again tomorrow night talking to Patrick Quinlan. But these people in the media recognize that. They see what's going on, and so what they try to do is they try to circumvent that. You had a podcast that came out there a while ago. I don't know whether I did a video on it or whether I was talking about it somewhere else, but the two Johnnies had stated that they were given questions in anticipation for talking to the Taoiseach. So, as we have suspected over the last few years, softball questions, softball interviews are now confirmed to be happening here in Ireland. And this is what these people have realised now. They realise that the podcast game of getting people, and a lot of these people, by the way, you have the Talking Bollocks guys. There's one guy in there that regularly talks about addiction problems and stuff like that, and the problems he had in the past. A lot of these people are broken people. And there are a lot of people that you shouldn't be listening to, is what I would say. And a lot of them have bad advice to be given, and a lot of them have done things. Like there, for example, you've got Nevo. This is a person that was selling pictures of herself and videos as well too. Allegedly, speculatively, we'll say, had a house in Turkey and was with a Turkish guy, from what I understand. Again, this is information that's been given to me. I don't know whether this is true. I'm just saying what I have heard and what has been told to me. Again, allegedly, speculatively. And is now back in Ireland. And there's now one of these people that is prominently a voice on the left-hand side now of these guys that are called the far right, they're such bad people. Okay, but your bloke is now dressed up in a video as the devil. That looks fucking strange, is what I would say. And it just goes to show you the titanic movement, the demonic movement that we're facing off against. And it just becomes clear to me what we are doing. And what we are doing is, I think we're doing God's work. That's just my humble opinion. You might be a believer, you might not be, you might have a bit of a question like that, but I do believe that we're all here, and we're all here for a reason. And I think the reason is that we're pushing on God's will, which is you're here tonight listening to this stream, talking for an hour and a half, just ranting, I suppose. And you guys are listening to that, and I really appreciate that. And this is where it comes. It comes full circle every single time. Anytime you see what's going on, negativity in the world, you guys are here. Before I jump off, I'm going to take a couple of more comments here. And again, I'm back here tomorrow night, so I appreciate everyone that's in here. Davina O'Connor, a few baby ninja nights would be great for Ireland. Absolutely hilarious, brilliant. I love this chat. I do. This chat's great. Let's have a look. People are like, Battens, do you like a certain Austrian man? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's keep going here throughout the chat. Mark Zuckerberg, Ninja, is that the video of her in a car crying about the situation? That was my fourth video, Ninja. Yeah. That's the one, yeah. Very much so. Very funny video. Sometimes I look back at the old stuff and I'm like, yikes, you know. There's a lot of stuff I would change. But I suppose this is what we just leave up, you know. Steve says, we're listening to you from Texas. We are praying that Ireland elect an Irish Trump to turn your beautiful country around. We also suffered trials and tribulation the last 4 years due to incompetence. Shout out to America and particularly Texas. I tell you, that is one place that I would love to go. I would love to be there. And, you know, big shout out to your hockey team the other night. Your anthem was billed by the Canadians, and in the first 9 seconds, there was, what was it, 16 fights or something? I'm grossly overestimating the numbers there. But no, in the first couple of minutes, I think there was a massive amount of fights there. I love ice hockey. It's great to see. But yeah, big shout out to Trump as well too. He's doing good stuff as well as Musk and Vance. We'll see what happens in the long term though. You know, I would like to see a good sweep across Europe as well and defunding them, causing problems, and then a more prominent rise of nationalism here in our country in particular and across Europe, because I think that can help out. Let's keep going here. 3 fights. Sotonar says 3 fights in the first 9 official seconds of play. Insane. You know, I like the hockey. And that's to me, you look at other sports and like that, and you go, that wouldn't happen in any other sport. Imagine going to a soccer game and the English team are there and the Irish team are there, and then the English fans boo the Irish national anthem. No one's done. You look at the ice hockey and you're like, the lads are throwing digs there within the first few minutes, and that's all legal in that, you know. I think that's great. But look, guys, I meant to pop on for only about half an hour to 40 minutes. I'm on here an hour and a half now. I hope tonight was informative, and look, I'm looking into doing more streams as well. I hear you. I hear the chat. I understand the people that are commenting as well that want to see more and more streams. It's just a timing thing. But I am trying to do the videos more consistently. So I'll say again, because we've got the bigger viewership here now at the moment, when I said it before. But I am trying to put out a video every Monday at 6:30. And I'm hoping for it to be informative, and I'm hoping for it to be lasting. Again, some videos might do well, some might not. Some might be tier tight, some might not. Always reach out to me and tell me what you want to see. If there's something that's interesting to you, or a story that you think I might have missed and that you think people want to see covered. And that's what we're going to do. So tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, me and Patrick Quinlan, they're going to be here on this channel talking. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. And Patrick is very interesting. You'll notice as well in the interviews, I like to say casual conversations. The casual conversations that I have, when I bring someone onto the channel, I like to hear them talk. I like to hear what they have to say. I want to hear their plans. And I think Patrick's going to be a good one, because he's in the belly of the beast at the moment, particularly in that council. And I'm sure he's going to have a lot of stuff to tell us. So looking forward to it. If you missed the first part of the show, I detailed the council video that I put up today that featured Patrick and the other people that were in it. Angela Donnelly there, who is the wife of Paul Donnelly, who's a Sinn Féin member. Jimmy Guerin, who's the brother of Veronica Guerin. And these people, familial ties, nepotism, all of this sort of stuff that's going on here in this country needs to be rooted out, weeded out, and stopped. And we need to have people that are put into these positions like Patrick that are going to go into the council and are going to ask for questions. The fact that in 2013 or 2011, whichever year it was, we'll clarify that one, I will again with Patrick, that over 50% of housing was being given to non-nationals is absolutely absurd. That is criminal, to say the very least. And the fact that people that were in that chamber didn't want to investigate that is as criminal as it sounds. So let's have a look tomorrow we'll have a bit of a laugh, and Patrick's always up for a laugh as well, which is a good thing. And I'll be continuing to do the videos. And I want to just say from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate everybody that's here tonight. I appreciate people that are listening on the playback. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers. It's crazy. That's crazy to me. The last time I looked there, I was just in and around 9,700 subscribers. Hugely appreciate that. So we're closing in on the 10,000, and I'm very excited about that because it's something that I never thought would happen. And again, that's all down to you. And thanks everybody that's liking the videos, that's sharing them, and that's subscribed to the channel. Sharing them is super important because if you think the information is important to get out there, share it with people, let them know what's going on. So look, talk to you soon. Talk to you tomorrow night. Ihawa, as the chat are saying here as well. Brilliant stuff. Okay. Talk to you soon. Good luck.